Now on YouTube, I'm the TOFF man and welcome to Thaumcraft 5. This is going to be a guide on Thaumcraft 5. Now I am currently using the beta version. I think things are going to be very similar in the way that the fundamentals of Thaumcraft 5 work. So I think it's about time that I started for you guys and told you how to do things in Thaumcraft 5. Okay, starting with the world gen. When you first load up a Thaumcraft 5 world, you will notice some changes within the world gen. There is no longer the infused stone that you can go ahead and mine now that will give you the shards. It's gone back to a previous version of Thaumcraft in the fact that you will be able to find stuff like this on smooth stone around the place. There are little crystals that you can go ahead and with a right click of your wand you can harvest one of the crystals from this. Now be very careful guys, it shows 2 here, there isn't actually 2, there is 1. So if you go ahead and right click this, it will just pop them both off and give you 1 shard back. So be very careful about that guys, but that is the way that you get crystals nowadays. It's gone back to the old aura kind of system where if you've got a certain amount of aura in a chunk and you know you've got this original spawning, it will actually spread and it will grow like what it did in the past. Well, it's gone back to that type of system with the world gen. Cinnabar and Amber are unchanged, but there will be absolutely no infused shards as an ore anymore. The next thing to explain, guys, is the aura changes and some of the research changes that have come along with it. So, the aura changes, as you previously know from Thaumcraft 4, aura came in the forms of nodes, it came in the forms of other little different bits and bobs as well, but predominantly it was nodes and nodal mechanics and all the kind of good stuff that you can get from Thaumcraft 4. Everybody knows how to do that now. In Thaumcraft 5, we've kind of gone back to a previous version of Thaumcraft. Now, if you remember from previous versions of Thaumcraft, aura was involved everywhere. It was literally all over the world in the form of values in chunks. Well, it's come back to that. If I actually get my thermometer out, that's not a thing. The thermometer out, you can see on the top left-hand side the dispersal of the particular different aspects. As you can see, there is 7 different ones. There is the air, ignis, aqua, terra, ordo, peditio, and then right down there at the bottom, the little tiny sliver is actually flux, and that is part of the natural balance of stuff that's in the air. If I was to go one chunk that way, it would be different. If I was to go one chunk that way, it would be different. Only probably slightly different because I'm in the middle of the desert at the moment, but it would be different. Now, it's literally everywhere. It's all around. And the way that you use this aura is, for example, if I have a silverwood wand, in the past you would go to a node and you would tap that node. It doesn't work like that anymore. Aura is all around the place. So how do you get aura out of the air? Well, it's pretty simple, guys. Craft yourself a wand and say, for example, if you hold yourself a little iron-capped wooden wand, the most basic wand that you can possibly make, you would have to have it in your hand and it would slowly drain the vis from the surrounding chunk that you're in. So in this case, values would then start to go down. Well, how would you replenish those values? That's where nodes come in nowadays, guys. The nodes will allow you to replenish the different aspects within that chunk that you've just used, say for example. There is other bits and bobs that you can do that involve totems and stuff, but again, I'm going to go more into detail on all of this in another video. This is just a bit of basic changes to the aura system, so it's just something to keep in mind. So, some changes to research has also taken place. It's made it easier and also a bit more difficult at the same time. You've got to get yourself a table, guys, and some scribing tools. You don't need 2 tables anymore, you just need the 1. Get some scribing tables and right-click on there, and you've now got yourself a research table. A nice little leather kind of texture on the right-hand side there, and of course you've got the scribing tools. So how do you do this? Well, it's pretty simple, guys. What you need to do is, I've got a cheating one, so I can't actually show you, but in the Thermonomicon, you do what you would usually do in Thaumcraft 4. You would get yourself a scribing tools. You would also get yourself some paper, make sure that they are in your inventory, and then go ahead and click whatever it is that you want to research. So what I'm going to do for you guys is go into a new world and show you how research actually works. So okay, I am in a brand new world, guys, with absolutely no research whatsoever. Let me have a look into the Thermonomicon right here, and then we can go ahead and do research expertise. Knowledge is power. Get a click to research the note for this research. So we've got that now. Now remember, you need scribing tools and also paper, and that will give you a research note. What the heck? It seems as if we're in a bad area here. We've got some flux taking over. Let's have a look. Oh wow, yeah, there's quite a bit of flux actually. There is quite a bit of flux. But anyway, we're not here for that today. Let me go ahead and put that into there. So, what you will notice straight away, guys, is when you put the research note in there, you will have some aspects on the left-hand side. It's very important, and you know, to stress that no longer can you use your thermometer to go around and research things. You can't gain aspect points by going around and you know, researching things. I mean, you can go ahead and right-click stuff, and you will say you've discovered something new. You've discovered something new. There we go. And so on and so forth. But they don't actually add to your pool of aspect points. It doesn't work like that anymore, as you can probably see. What instead is happening here is this is the pool of research points that you've got. This is literally it. That is what you have. And you use these to create the stuff that you need to be able to link these three together. So, you will also notice, if you go into the Thermonomicon and go into Aspects of Magic, when you go across, there is actually a whole lot of things that have changed with this. Now, the Research Helper thing that I used to use does not work currently for Thaumcraft 5 because everything requires something different. Desiderium... Oh, you know what? Hang on a second, guys. Let me go ahead and change that over to peaceful right there. There we go. And yes... Desiderium, or whatever the hell it was. What was it again? Desiderium is lucrum, in other words, the old lucrum, but it now requires you to have spiritus and vacuous. Now, there's a lot of recipes that require spiritus. I don't know if that's just a placeholder yet, but keep an eye on this particular page to be able to see what you need, especially until that research helper does get updated. If indeed it does get updated, it might not get updated at all. There is quite a few mortus kicking around, victus, mortus. Is interesting, guys, because no longer does it require what it used to require. It now has aqua and peditio. So a lot of things have changed. Very, very important to come in here and have a look at that. So what you need to do is use the pool of aspect points that you've got to create what you need. So I can go ahead and get some victus, and that will give me victus and so on and so forth. But what you will need to do is use the pool of aspect points that you've got. If you run out of out of these aspect points right here, guys, you will not be able to do that particular research. It's expended. You've done enough with it. You're going to have to chuck it away and get another research note so that you can do it again. Did I do that right? You already have this research note. Oh, okay. Then I'll just chuck it away. There we go. And then I will do it again. So there you go. And then when you do that, you put that into there and you've got another pool of research points in there. Now, sometimes, as you've probably already noticed, guys, you will have ones that will give you more. So you've got 8, 8, and 8. But if we've got this new one that's right here, there is actually 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 6. So you should be able to do it, though. The way that it's been worked is it's a lot easier to actually figure out how to link all of these together. So vacuous, there's a lot of things that are exactly the same. Peditio and ordo are two prime aspects. Rather than having to use the two prime aspects to make an aspect, to then use that aspect to make more aspects, and so on and so forth, you will find that doing research is actually easier than what it has been in the past. You've just got to get used to the fact that you will not be able to use a research helper until it has been publicly available. But that is how research now works in Thaumcraft 5. The other thing to note, guys, is warp still exists. You will still get warp effects from doing certain researches, and you will still have the effects that you get from warp that was in Thaumcraft 4, that got introduced in Thaumcraft 4. So looking back on all of this, guys, it's really kind of like an amalgamation. That's not the right word. An amalgamation of all of the different versions of Thaumcraft that we've previously had, kind of been brought forward and merged together in some sort of way. I'm not entirely sure on how I feel about all of this yet, but it certainly feels it feels familiar, and it feels nice the fact that we've gone into Thaumcraft 5 into 1.8, and I don't have to relearn the entire aspect, all of Thaumcraft, because it's still using things that I'm familiar to and familiar with by using them in the past. So there is a whole load of new items. Well, I say a whole load of new items. There is some new items that I want to go through, some new mechanics with the previous items that I would also like to go through, and some new bits and bobs that have been covered in, been thrown in there as well by Azanor. At the moment, and it is important to stress, it's only at the moment, Golemancy is not available for Thaumcraft 5, and that is something to do with the way that Forge is working, something the way that how Forge does things, that at the moment it isn't actually available. Also, when we've got the thermometer right here, if you right click something, you can see that it doesn't have this fancy kind of effect anymore. That is also down to Forge, I believe. And also when you tap the aura from the air or whatever it is, when you're holding this, it doesn't do any kind of fancy thing, it's just there. So animations do seem to be broken a little bit, but come back in future episodes of the guide to Thaumcraft 5, guys, where we're going to go through all of the little different bits and bobs that we've got down this left hand side that are currently available for Thaumcraft, and I will do a full on Thaumcraft 5 guide for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please go ahead and leave a like, go ahead and share it with your friends, guys, and I will see you for the next one. Until then, I've been the TOFF man, thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay safe.